Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 152, titled To Be Determined. I, some of you know, I moved recently. It was not a move that I wanted, but my daughter and I were forced to sell the house that I was paying for. Long, ugly story. If you want to dig on my Facebook page, you can probably find a summary of it. It's definitely not something I'm giving any more energy to. However, the reason I wanted to do this podcast is to talk about how important it is that you maintain your sovereign storyteller state. And I'm using like one of my oldest headsets. I can't even believe I still have it, but I can't find the good one. So hopefully the sound is decent enough. But being a sovereign storyteller is a concept that I've been talking about for years. And it really is a concept that I live my entire life by. And I'm always learning and growing, of course, as we all are. And I realized when I've noticed over the last few weeks that my money has dried up. Clients aren't coming in, a few random things. Things are still happening, but it was going gangbusters. And now it is down to me having to move money around accounts. And I haven't had to do that in a while. So train your body to wealth. Part of the remedy is I'm going to do Train Your Body to Wealth again live. The book is almost done, just so you know that is coming. Sometime right after the first of the year, I'm going to do Train Your Body to Wealth again live. Right now it's a hybrid program, so you can join it. Just let me know if you want to start the process. But I want to reset myself from the ground up, because when we allow external circumstances and other people's choices to drag us under, within a few months, you will see your outer reality reflects, right? So we're in a time gap. What is happening today in my life right now, I'll see the results of things that are close by, I'll probably see within a few days. Then it'll be a few weeks and a few months. So I'm predicting that I'm going to I'm not waiting till the first of the year. I'm going to reset myself now, and then I'm going to offer that out for a public reset if people want it. For the people who want it. I know there are people who want it. But I won't see a shift that I can point to for a few months from now, a full blown, we'll call it a manifestation. The physical, tangible, 3D reality arrives, forms itself, gets to me through various channels based on what I'm doing right now today. And today I actually took off sick because I am sick, and yet as soon as I got still, all this stuff started pouring through, and I was like, guys. So also, just to point out that you can create even when you're sick, as long as you're not like, dead out, by laying in bed or sitting in a chair. Like, you can talk usually. If you're so sick that you can't talk, like, I get it. And I was that this morning. I just had nothing. Anyway, this stuff started coming through. So I was looking at my finances this week and just being like, oh shit, I've got I've got stuff coming through this account that has next to nothing in it. What do I need to do? I gotta find something over there and put it in over here so the IRS gets its money, blah blah blah. And then I realized, oh, I'm experiencing now the result of the state I allowed myself to be in for 9 months. The day before Thanksgiving, we got hit with a bomb out of the blue. and did our best to get through it. Couldn't, had to sell the house. It's been 9 months of really miserable circumstances and a lot of pain and a lot of anger and betrayal and all the things. So I kept my, I'll say, balance most of that time, which I think is why things aren't worse than they are. And I'm catching it today, like, I need a reset. I let that person, those circumstances, tip me off balance long enough that that now I'm seeing the results and I don't like these results. So it's always on us to stay aware of what we're doing, what we're thinking, where we're going, what's happening. And a lot of us, and this is just, all of us, the human experience is on the path, off the path, on the path, off the path, awake, asleep, always trying to find that middle ground and never being able to sustain it very long because that's part of being human. Catching ourselves when we've tipped over and righting ourselves. We're wandering around slightly askew and we're like, oh, I'm wandering around all over the place. I'm letting this other person throw me back and forth all over the place. I got to get back to center. Excuse me. So, your daily practice helps you catch yourself faster. And my daily practice is slightly disrupted, but it never disappears. Like, I don't have my previous altar space where I did all my morning work. I don't have that kind of space available now. So, I'm having to figure out, okay, now that I'm in a house that's much, much smaller, how am I going to recreate that altar? Here's the thing, you don't need the altar, which is why my daily practice still exists. But I like it and I want it back. So I've got to recreate that. But I'm not saying, oh, I don't have my altar and that's why. That's not it. Because I still do my daily practice. But that's how you stay on top of it. You have a daily practice so that every day you're checking in with yourself. Every day you're asking yourself, am I standing upright or am I wandering around slightly askew? Am I giving this person too much power? Am I letting these circumstances dictate how I feel all day? Not that you don't take the hit when something happens, but we don't need to stay there. And for too long over that 9-month period, which finally ended for me in the middle of July when I moved in to the new house, my new house. That whole time frame is that 9 months, roughly 8 or 9 months. I was up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So I didn't go down, but I also wasn't staying up. If you listen to Abraham Hicks, she talks a lot about trying to be on the vibrational scale just a little over 50% of the time. The more you are in that high frequency state that resonates and matches with what you want to experience in your life, of course, the faster it's going to go. But when times get tough, we, are, if we're lucky, we're staying at 60%, but we're also dipping down to -0, -10, -20, can't be -0, right? -10, -20. And definitely I had moments of that where I just could not believe what was happening. It was so scandalous. However, so what I'm saying is that is an example of how it's so important to maintain your sovereignty, regardless of what's going on outside of you. Because I was able to hang on to some of it for more of the time than not, it didn't completely destroy everything. But I am seeing the impact. When my energy goes waffly, I see the impact in money. That's the area that gets my attention the fastest. It's the biggest teacher I have. Money is my wisdom teacher. So this just reiterates, emphasizes, re-emphasizes the importance of that simple daily practice, a simple check-in of asking those questions. Where am I? What am I thinking about? Who has my power? Who has my attention? All of the things. Now, I had a little flow of information from Being the Gang this morning, and that's over on Substack, michellewolf.substack.com. If you want to listen to that, but it came, and then my realization came, and I was like, okay, I get it, guys. I get it. Refocus, recenter, and amp it up. So I was maintaining, but I wasn't growing. I wasn't expanding. I wasn't evolving. I didn't allow myself. We always have the energy available, but I allowed my energy to be drained to the point where I was just maintaining and just barely maintaining. That's not, that's how I grew up. That's how I lived a lot of my life. And to me, that's just absolutely unacceptable. I'm always wanting to be expanding and growing and creating new things and learning new things. Um, so what I want to leave, I know this podcast is probably not the best. It doesn't feel the best to me because I don't feel the best, but I really just want to send out a reminder that with the debate and the presidential election coming up, I just want to remind us that it's September 11th, also a high energy day, especially for the US. A reminder that what we're doing today on September 11th, we'll see the outgrowth of the outpicturing. Who says that? Francis Scoville Shin, is that where it comes? The outpicturing. I can't remember where that word comes from. We'll see that a few weeks, months down the road. So manifestation has that time gap, and that's how it's hard for us to recognize we're doing it ourselves. Oh, I'm actually not a victim to circumstances. I'm actually not. I'm not a victim. I'm letting people victimize me. I'm letting the world victimize me. I'm letting it drain off my power. And although that's uncomfortable to look at for most people, it is an incredibly powerful shift to make when you're like, okay, well, these circumstances, I don't love these. What was I doing 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago? Where is the point where I let go of my own personal responsibility? Where did I let go of my responsibility to keep my frequency focused on being now what I want to have in tangible reality? So I have to go back to being my wealthy self in this moment, September 11th, whatever time it is. I have to go back to being overflow, being wild creativity, being high energy and taking care of my exercise and doing all those things. I have to pull myself back into resonance. Remember, manifestation is all about the resonant field. We have, just like a tuning fork, we have to resonate right this minute. And it's not an effortful process because we already are that. So when I say I have to pull myself and go back to, those are just limitations of language. A better way to say it would be, I have to remember who I am. I have to relax into the natural joy that I am and the love that I am. We are love manifested. We can't not be love. We aren't separate from the things we want. I'm not separate from a bigger, fatter bank account. I only from the eyes of a human. So the very simplest way for me to see different results with the eyes of of my human self is to get relaxed. I got to watch that word. We're not getting anything. Is to just be. Right? That's why Be in the Gang is so funny. And when they gave me that name, I thought it was hilarious. Like there's so many layers of be and be in, be apostrophe in. I was like, oh my God, you guys are like corny. But we are just relaxing. Let's say, how could we say this? We are remembering to relax into resonance. Oh, that's good. We're remembering to relax. Remember to relax into resonance. Does that make sense? Remember to relax into resonance. I like how it sounds. That doesn't mean it makes any sense because as a writer, I love falling in love with my own words, but that doesn't mean they make any sense. Remember to relax into resonance. Oh, that's probably the title. So, whatever's going on for you today, when you look out in your life and you're like, well, this blows, think back over where you've been in your energy. Have you been taking responsibility to anchor yourself in the resonance that you want, in the resonance that you know will bring you those human eyed, the tangible things that your human eyes can see and go, yes, I did the thing. Where were you a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago? What were you doing? What were you thinking? Now, take responsibility for what you're doing, thinking, being, choosing. Where are you putting your power right now today so that your future is going to have those things in it that you want to play with, that you want to experience? Remembering the time gap, relax into resonance. I'm going to have to listen back because that phrase has already gone out of my head. So that so that your tomorrow is what you want it to be. So I just want to share that with you, that happened to me, and so I know I'm not alone in that. And to just remind you again, things are rocky and loud and loud out there right now, as they are every election season, even when it's not like a big dramatic deal. It's always rough every 4 years. Well, actually every 3 years, because it starts a year in advance. Pull yourself back, relax back, settle down, get right with yourself, get back to your daily practice if you have been slacking on that, so that you get to reset yourself. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I know I feel like I'm wandering around a bit because I don't actually feel well, but this felt important enough for me to verbalize for myself, but also to say to any of you that have noticed, you had some progress and now it's slipping away. Go back to doing what you were doing that created that progress, remembering about that time gap. I'll leave you with one more thing. When I first started trying to do this stuff consciously forever ago, at one time I heard an Abraham Hicks tape. It was a cassette tape. Oh my God, I'm old. And she was talking about how if we could see that we're spraying out, like, imagine that as you're moving through life, you're spraying red spray paint everywhere. So that as you're walking forward, you're walking through that red cloud of red spray paint, and it's what's delivering your tomorrow. And that if we want to change it, we have to be spraying out something different. So if red is like, I don't want, we have to right now today shift it to blue or green or whatever energetic frequency that we do want. So as we're walking through the world, we're in resonance with, and it magnetically pulls us to it. We don't go out and get the prosperity. We resonate with that frequency and then we just line up with it. It's just natural, those energetic flows where matching what we want or we're not. It's really that basic, and there's no morality to it. You're resonating at the frequency that's going to eventually create the tangible things you can see, or you're not. Whatever you're experiencing today, that's what you've been resonating with. So just shift it. And you shift it by going back to your daily practice. You shift it by relaxing into resonance with what you want. Okay. Thanks for being here. I know it's been a while since I've done a podcast. There is one up, a little mini 12-minute audio up on Substack. And I probably will throw this up on Substack too. All right. Until we talk again, think less, feel more, and I'll talk to you later.